case is, oops. Okay, recording is now in progress. Got it. Okay. Our first case is 2129 Falk and Marks Pascal, 117 Samoset Avenue, map 28, parcel 107, application for a special permit pursuant to Massachusetts General Law C40AS 6 and Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.1.5 and 8.4.2 to demolish a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on a pre-existing non-conforming lot and to build a new non-conforming single-family dwelling and 2, a floodplain exemption pursuant to Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.31 and 6.1.4. The Jan is going to recuse herself from this hearing as a somewhat neighbor. And the board will be Will, myself, Al, Mick, and Trevor.
I'll sit this one out too, Madam Chair.
Okay, you're going to sit this one out. Andy, I'm putting you on then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I visited the site, but it was too dark on my motorcycle, so I don't feel comfortable.
Well, it was a very windy site. So it's Chris, it's Will, myself, Al, Andy, and Trevor. All right, Ben, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon, and thank you all for being available tonight to hear this matter. And on the line with me are the owners, Raul Marquez and Beth Falk, to answer any questions that you might have about their ownership of the property. Also, Allison Alessi is on from A3 Architecture, and she has done this design that we're presenting to you tonight. This is, I hate to use the word garden variety because they're all a little bit different, but this is a proposal to remove and replace a single family dwelling on a lot that's fairly constricted in terms of its setback availability. You can see an existing conditions plan prepared by John O'Reilly that shows that what they're doing essentially is rebuilding within the footprint of the existing house, trying to keep the setbacks essentially the same, as centering the house a little bit better on the lot. The structure they're building is and again, I think the structure is much more attractive than what's there right now. You can see the existing conditions plan that Allison's presented that shows the photographs of a somewhat unremarkable sort of salt box shed type structure that's being replaced with, again, I think a very attractive 2-story structure with some postmodern hints and a really nice roof deck to take advantage of the views of the water. And I'll kind of leave my commentary at that. And if you have any questions about the design of the location, of course, we have to demonstrate that the structure is not going to be substantially more detrimental than what's there now. The use remains the same, single family residential use. The number of bedrooms remains the same. The road is adequate for the access into the property. So you really shouldn't see any impact on the neighborhood in terms of the change of the structure itself. It's restricted in terms of its ability to expand its footprint, so they're staying within the size of the footprint that's already there. And if you have any questions, we hope we can answer them for you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, Will?
I have no questions.
Okay. Trevor?
No, I don't think I have any questions. It is no offense to the owners, but it is one of the more unattractive houses as it is now. I mean, it's not like it's a beautiful piece of architecture that they're tearing down. Yeah, I do see on the plan something that's labeled as bedroom number 3, but it looks like there's a 6 or 5 foot double door on it.
Yep.
Which I guess will be up to Hillary and the Board of Health Department to make a call on that. But no, I think from a zoning point of view, I don't have any questions. It seems pretty. What did you say, Ben?
No, I had. I'm flipping to the septic plan to see if I can see the notations for the number of bedrooms.
He called it garden variety.
Garden variety. Yes.
Garden variety. Ben called it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. While he's looking for septic, Al, do you have any questions on this one?
Not really. I agree with Trevor's comments about the aesthetics, and it's basically pretty much sitting on the same footprint. So I have no issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Andy.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody else has said. I just do have a question, Ben. I see that they're going to put in, or you're proposing 2 proposed leach pits down the east corner of the property?
Right?
And that's because of potential flooding there? Or?
Yeah, those are drainage pits. That has to do with handling. And I don't know that Matt Farrell's on the line with us, but those are not septic components. Those are
Oh, I
those
understand.
are for the purpose of handling drainage and stormwater.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
And that is because at present, there is potential for flooding there?
Yeah, I'm just looking to see the plan. It looks like at the edge of the dirt road, it's a 10-foot elevation, and it looks like it down closer to the house. It looks like it drops down to 9.5 where the
Yeah.
gravel or shell driveway is.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably just to make sure that if any water coming off the road is handled without getting into the house itself.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think that, Andy.
Yeah, okay. I
Okay.
don't have any other questions.
Retha. You're muted, Retha.
I have no questions.
Okay, all right. Did I miss anyone? No, because Mick is recused and so is Jan. Anybody I missed there? Okay, I actually don't either, and I would agree with Trevor and Al. It's a house that does need to be upgraded. So do I
just
have a
wanna-
motion?
I'm
Motion to go
sorry,
to findings.
Were there any letters?
No,
on-
we need the abutters.
Oh, the abutters, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, is anyone here to speak to this project? I
That's
don't have,
good.
I have no letters.
Okay, I was asking about that in general, so.
Yeah, I have no letters. Is anyone, Mrs. Zaffanella, would you like to speak to this?
That's the next matter, Madam Chair.
Next matter.
What?
Mrs. Zaffanel's here for the next matter.
I know, but her hand is up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it was confusing me. I thought maybe she was talking
You
about
didn't get
both.
my memo. Yeah.
Anyway, I see no other hands up. Is there anyone else here for this project? Doesn't look like it. Ben, do you see anybody? That
I don't.
no. Mm-mm. Okay, no, there are no butters. So it is moving slightly closer to one of the houses, but
Yeah.
it's pretty far away. Yeah. Okay, I need a motion to go to findings then, I think.
I'll move.
Second,
Okay, Trevor moves and Al seconds. This is what I have. Thank you, Will. 2129 Elizabeth A. Falk and Raul Marquez Pascual, trustees, 117 Samoset Avenue, map 28, parcel 107, request for special permit to permit the demolition of a single-family dwelling and the construction of a new single-family dwelling and a floodplain exemption. The applicants own a single-family residential house situated in the residential 1 zoning district constructed prior to the adoption of zoning and propose to demolish the existing house and replace it with a new house, hereinafter referred to as the new house. The proposed new house will be located in the same general location as the existing house and centered on the upland portion of the lot. The current house is non-conforming due to the fact that the side setbacks are 14.8 feet and 17.3 feet, where 25 feet is required under existing Wellfleet bylaws, and the lot is non-conforming in that it contains 8,792 square feet, where 30,000 square feet is required. The applicants propose to construct the new house in a location so that the north side nonconformity will be reduced from 14.8 feet to 15.3 feet, while the south side nonconformity will be increased from 17.8 feet to 16.8 feet. The applicable provisions for this application under the Town of Wellfleet zoning bylaws are section 5.4.2, section 6.1.5, and section 8.4.2. Section 1.5.1b, the board finds that the construction of the new house was not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure. Section 8.4.2.1, the board finds that the construction of the new house is suitable in that it is compatible with nearby land uses which would not be damaged by the construction of the new house. B, the board finds that the roads, drainage, and other public utilities would not be affected by the construction of the new house. And C, the board finds that the construction of the new house will not contribute to environmental damage. Section 8.4.2.2 is not applicable, and section 8.4.2.3, the board finds that the construction of the new house will not adversely affect scenic views from public ways or neighboring properties. That's on the special permit. Do we want to go ahead on those findings, I think, before we go to the floodplain exemption?
I move we approve those findings.
Okay,
I'll
I
s-
need a
I'll second.
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 Andy seconds, all in favor. Al,
Aye.
Will,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay, here are the findings for the floodplain exemption. The property is located in zone AE, and a portion of the property's seawall is located in the velocity zone, and the applicant's proposal requires a floodplain exemption pursuant to Wellfleet zoning bylaw section 6.14.3. 1, the board finds that the proposal will not increase flood heights, decrease flood storage capacity, result in any public expense or conflict with local law. The board finds that there are no threats to public safety or risk of fraud or victimization of the public. 2, the board finds that there is good and sufficient cause to grant an exemption from the bylaw floodplain requirements. The new house will be constructed in the same area as the existing house and will comply with the maximum building coverage requirements of the Wellfleet zoning bylaws. 3, the board finds that the failure to grant the request would prohibit the construction of the new dwelling and would therefore result in an exceptional hardship to the applicants. And 4, the board finds that the applicant's request is reasonable and constitutes a minimal change from what currently exists on the lot. Questions about those?
I move we approve those.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Al seconds. Will moved and Al seconded. All in favor, Will?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
And Sharon? Aye. Okay, having approved those, I guess we get 2 motions again, one to grant the special permit and one to grant the floodplain exemption. So special permit.
I'll move.
So moved.
Okay, Trevor moves, Andy seconds. All in favor, Al?
Aye.
Will?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Sharon? Aye, and Andy?
Aye.
And a move to grant this floodplain exemption.
So moved.
Andy moves,
Second.
Al seconds, all in favor. Andy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Sharon? Aye, I'm sorry about that. Will
Aye.
and Trevor?
Aye.
I have a little COVID brain, not too much, but a little bit there. Keep me honest. Okay, there you go, Ben. You're on your way with that one. Mhm. I will call the next case. Welcome back. Jan, come on back. Mick?
I'm here.
And Nick, you can come back. All right, 2130 Zaffanella, 430 Nelly Road, map 30, parcel 162, application for special permit pursuant to Massachusetts General Law C40A S6 and Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.1.5 and the grant of a National Seashore Park District special permit pursuant to the Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.24 to demolish an existing building and build a new dwelling on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. And the board for this one will be Jan, Will, Trevor, Nick, and myself. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay, this is not a garden variety special permit application.
No.
The last one was, I thought, this one poses some issues that I think are going to bear a little more detailed discussion by the board and by us as applicants. I have on the line with me Tim Brady, who's our surveyor. I think Peter McDonald may be joining us at some point. He's the architect.
Mhm.
But this proposal on Nellie's Way, looking at, this is in the Cape Cod National Seashore. The lot is 4,800 square feet, which is a small lot. The required minimum lot size in the seashore, as you all know, is 3 acres. The proposal is to remove a structure and build a new structure of 2 stories in exactly the same footprint, exactly the same footprint. So the structure itself is going to be have 772 square feet of living space on the first floor, 717 on the second floor of a total of 1,489 square feet. As the board is aware, when you have lots of under, I believe it's 10,500 square feet in the seashore, you don't use the site coverage algorithm. What you do is you go back to our old formula of looking at lot coverage, which means that, in this district, there's a 5% maximum lot coverage requirement. The property is sitting at, I believe, about 18% lot coverage as it is, and will remain at 18%. But, we don't look at floor area, we look at lot coverage. And so in order to get a special permit to alter a pre-existing non-conforming structure, you also are required to obtain from this board a special permit from the National Seashore zoning requirements, which includes as one of its considerations whether or not the project is going to exceed 150% of the floor area that was in effect in September 1 of 59. The bylaw doesn't say you can't have it. It says that in order to exceed that, you have to demonstrate that it's not going to be substantially, and maybe I began the language in front of you exactly, but I don't want to misstate this. It says that, in addition to the maximum site coverage table, which doesn't apply here, the board shall consider the Cape Cod National Seashore's 50% use guideline. Proposed development shall not exceed the 50% formula, unless the board finds that the development shall not have a significant adverse impact on the scenic views and on the prevailing scale, mass, and character of the neighboring zoning district. So we need to demonstrate to you that the project is not going to have a significant adverse impact. And I will present to you that I don't think this does have a significant adverse impact. And for that, and the reason is because of two things. One is, under the Seashore's formula, you're allowed to have 1.5 times the size of the house that existed in September of 59. Additionally, you're allowed to have accessory structures that are 50% of that new number. So in this particular matter, we're allowed to have 1,008 square feet of dwelling plus 504 square feet of accessory structure for a total of 1,512 square feet. Anybody who's looked at an assessor's map for Nelly Road knows that you really can't have a garage. And the reason you can't have a garage is because you can't exceed your lot coverage. You can't increase your lot coverage. So when you look at the assessor's map for Nelly Road, you're going to see a number of homes, all of which are 4,800 square feet, that don't have garages because you can't increase your lot coverage. So what we're doing here is, under the Seashore's use guidelines, you'd be allowed to have 1,512 square feet of structures based on the use guidelines. Here, we're not increasing the lot coverage of the structure, but we're increasing the floor area of the structure to 1,478, which is under that 1,512 that you'd be allowed. I did a very quick, it took me about 7 minutes. I looked at the assessor's records for the town of Wellfleet, and on Nelly Road alone, there are 4 other parcels that are the same size, 4,800 square feet. 440 Nelly Road has 1,344 square feet of floor area. It's 672 square feet on each of 2 floors. 449 Nelly Road is also 2 stories. It's also 1,344 square feet, 672 square feet on each of 2 floors. 441 Nelly Road has 504 square feet and 672 square feet for 1,176 square feet. And then 425 Nelly Road has 1,936 square feet. It has 968 square feet on 2 floors. So what the Zaffanellas want to do really is exactly what everybody else is doing on this road. And it's the only thing they can do, which is to take your house and stay within your footprint, put a second floor on it, give yourself a what I would call a reasonable amount of living space that you can enjoy your house with your children, which is here 1,478 square feet. And so because they're doing really exactly what everybody else has done, I don't think that they could possibly have a significant adverse impact on the neighborhood in terms of both the use or the scale and the massing or the location, the siting of the house in this area. So, Tim's here to answer any questions that you might have about the engineering itself. You have the architectural plans for the house, which is staying within those existing footprints. And I'm hopeful that, based on my argument alone, and also on what's been presented to you by the architect and by the engineer, that this is a project that would enjoy a special permit both under your 6.1 and also under the National Seashore bylaw. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Okay, and we do have a letter from the seashore on this one.
Oh, Madam
Um,
Chair,
Yes,
I'm so sorry. I forgot to bring up another issue. May I?
yes, sure.
Okay, Tim Brady identified, just so the board's clear, Tim Brady identified in doing his survey work,
Mhm.
there's a discrepancy with this property in terms of the boundary markers, how they relate to boundary markers for other lots in the general area. So, and we don't really know how to resolve this short of an exhaustive survey of all the properties in the area. Because as you all know from a survey, if one property's off, they're all off. So Tim's identified that when you find markers and pipes in the area for other properties and you relate them to this property appears like it's been shifted over 4 feet to the east. And maybe that's the west, and will correct me, to the
You'd
west.
be better
which
off in the west because it's not going to go into the ocean. You don't want to shift
Yeah,
it to the east.
yeah, you're probably right. We have the seashore on both sides, so we're not really taking away somebody's yard space or anything else. So we're holding our boundary lines. I've reached out to Lauren McKean at the seashore, identified the problem, said, look, we need to have a conversation about this. Typically, when you have this situation, what you do is the two adjacent landowners enter into a boundary line agreement that says, look, regardless of where the surveys are, we release to each other those lands on the sides of the boundary line so we can hold what we already own. So I've reached out to Lauren. She's been responsive. She's having her lands office look at this. She didn't identify in her letter to you that issue, but that issue's out there. I don't think this has a real bearing on what you're looking at. But if in fact down the road it turns out that this property's boundary lines aren't what we think they are, we may need to come back to this board for some further form of relief. It's possible. I highly doubt it'll happen, but it's possible. And thank you.
Okay, all right. And I have one, is there anyone here in the audience who wants to speak to this before I start asking questions of the board, or I'll read the Seashore's letter. This letter concerns the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing for the redevelopment proposal for 430 Nelly Road in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. The property is approximately 1/10 of an acre in the 3-acre National Seashore Zoning District. Minimum frontage and setbacks are not met, and there is a 14% lot coverage versus 5% allowable. This neighborhood has a dense character with primarily single-story dwellings, as less than half of the neighborhood have second stories as per the applicant's filing. Under the special permit section 6.24.3 standards and criteria 6, quote, the proposed development shall not exceed the 50% formula unless the board finds that the development shall not have a significant adverse impact on the scenic views and on the prevailing scale, mass, and character of the neighborhood and zoning district, unquote. We believe that the current proposal would have a significant impact on the neighborhood and zoning district. A preferable proposal on one of the smallest lots in the Seashore District, that 1/10 acre lot, would be to construct a 1.5-story residence, as this would be more compatible with the vision of the framers of the 2008 zoning bylaw change, that the 50% expansion would be a backup to the lot coverage provision for more flexibility. Under this ZBA proposal, both zoning parameters are exceeded. Accordingly, we hope ZBA members will request reconsideration and downsizing of the scale and massing of this proposal. And that is for Brian Carlson.
Super.
Okay. I guess I go to the board. Nick.
No questions.
Okay. Will.
I have no questions of the applicant. I have a lot to say about the seashore, but no questions for the applicant.
Seashore is not before us. Jan.
I have to say that I agree with everything they said in the Seashore's letter. I think that a 1.5-story house would be more in character with this neighborhood. I think it's a beautiful looking house, but I think the scale and massing doesn't, it would be the largest house on that street and in the immediate neighborhood. And it's 1/10 of an acre.
Trevor.
I actually don't have any issues with this at all. I think the fact that they're keeping on the same footprint, yes, I know they are going up. I think I'd feel very differently if there was anybody immediately behind them to the west, to the east of them, but there isn't. And I don't feel like any property owners are going to have views affected by this. I mean, disregarding the park, I suppose, as a property owner, but no, I don't have any issues with this application.
Okay. Andy. You're muted.
I have no questions.
Okay. Al.
I tend to agree with Jan with respect to the, the height of the structure, but other than that, I have no questions.
Okay. And Retha.
Use.
I don't know. She doesn't seem to be muted, but Retha, do you have any questions for this one? Now she's muted. No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Jan, Jan, Sharon, can I address the application as a whole?
Sure.
I view that letter from the seashore as why people hate government. Seriously, that's a bunch of nonsense. Just a bunch of nonsense.
What I love about you, Will, is you hide your feelings so well.
What difference is it going to make whether this is a 2-story building or a 1.5-story building? Matter of fact, the house right across the street, the closest one, they have a big window. And what do they have? They got a huge plant, like a tree, that covers up any view. So if they look out, they're not going to see. You could have a 3-story building. They're not going to see it. So I just think that's a bunch of poppycock. And this doesn't cause any harm to anybody. It's a very decent house. It's a huge improvement to the neighborhood. And since the standard is, it's not going to be substantially detrimental. Okay, what's the difference between a 1.5-story house and a 2-story house? I'd like some board members to say, if you think that's substantial, 1.5 versus 2, why is an extra 10 feet going to matter? Anyway, I'll shut up, but that's how I feel about it. And I think the seashore loses credibility because sometimes they're right, but when they're just mean spirited, they'd take away Christmas if they could.
They had no in the Seashore's defense, we heard nothing from them about the last Seashore property. But I tend to agree with you, Will. I don't really, I mean, I looked at this and I think about massing. I think about some of the other properties we've seen that are truly massing and truly sort of eyesores on their neighborhood. And I don't really see the difference between a 2-story house and a 1.5-story house here, particularly given that, I mean, it's 1,400 square feet. We're not talking about 7,000 square foot property. We're talking about a relatively modest house on the same footprint that they have right now. So,
Sharon, I've got a question for Tim.
Yes.
I'm wondering if he can tell us how much higher the proposed ridge is than the existing ridge.
Good question.
I cannot offhand. I don't have paperwork with me. I wasn't really prepared to be here tonight. That's actually a letter, I mean, a note more for the architect than for me. But I would point out, if you've been to the site, right now it has a garage on the basement level, and that's going to be revised so that actually becomes the main level, and the building will go up from there. So it won't have that garage underneath. It'll look more like a building sitting at a normal height above the ground, rather than that garage door under.
Right, and I that was my understanding of it, and that's why I was hoping you might have an answer, because I believe that the height that the ridge is going up is not actually all that much.
That may be true because yeah,
I think it's far less than, Will threw out 10 feet as a number, but I don't think it's going to be even anywhere near that much. I think it's only going to go up by 5 feet or so.
You may be right. I don't have that number offhand.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I'd like to jump in on one point that the Seashore raised, and I'm raising it just because I think it might be of interest to the board, because what Mr. Carlson said is he said that a 1.5 story would be more compatible with the vision of the framers of the 2008 bylaw change. I don't think there was any vision of the framers of the bylaw change as to height. I think there was a vision of the framers of the bylaw change in 2008 only as to whether or not you exceed the 1.5 number, and whether or not if you do exceed, there's going to be a significant adverse impact on the neighborhood. I don't think there was, and again, I was probably the guy standing in the town hall meeting room suggesting we shouldn't pass this bylaw, but I don't think that anybody was contemplating whether houses should be 1.5 or 2 stories at that time. I think they were just saying we'd like to keep the size within 1.5 times the size unless you can prove that there's no significant adverse impact. So I'm not sure that statement's correct. Thank you.
Sure. Jan.
I didn't interpret what the seashore said to be about height, and it's not about height necessarily completely with me. It has to do with a very tiny lot, 1/10 of an acre, where you're supposed to have 3 acres. And we are, according to our bylaw, they're only allowed 239.6 square feet of building coverage. And it's already 672. And they're going to go over the 150% seashore guideline. It's about a lot of house on a very tiny lot, and a house that, as I look at the plan, basically you're putting in a 3rd bedroom upstairs because you've got a living room downstairs. Now you have a great room, and I know bedrooms aren't our concern, a great room and an office upstairs. So basically you're taking what's a 2-bedroom house and creating a 3-bedroom house.
Nick.
Okay. In defense of the seashore, they write that letter on every one of these hearings that we have, and they are custodians of the environment. That's their main thing. So I'll disagree with my colleague on their definition of the seashore. I don't think that the bad guys in this. However, I normally am very reluctant to vote for something like this, but having looked at the house that's there and what they're proposing, the difference in height to me is really, really minimal. And I agree with, in practice, I agree with you, Jan, but in this case, I don't see any adverse, I don't see anything adverse to the neighborhood in general by allowing this house to go forward. And I'm normally a no on all of these projects, but on this particular one, I just don't see any harm to anybody in general, taking into account what the seashore said. And I tend to agree with them on a lot of issues. But on this one, I'm comfortable with what the applicants have designed. And I understand you have an office or a 3rd store or 3rd bedroom, whatever it is what it is. That's for the Board of Health to decide. So I'm comfortable with the applicant as it's going forward because of the difference in the height is so minimal. So that's where I'm at with this. I guess that's a 4-1 for you, Ben, right?
That's what my notes say. So.
that was basically, Mick, my feeling too is as everybody knows, I'm generally a no on these too. But in this case, it's the same footprint.
Exactly.
So while it's going up, I mean, it's already covering that lot. I mean, I know the formulas, but it's already covering the same spot it's going to cover again now. So,
yeah, and
I think these people get penalized by the fact that they have a very tiny lot. And so it would be very hard to expand anything here, but
well, the other thing too is generally we've had a lot of people have bought in the last year and a half. And when you buy in the National Seashore, you're agreeing to abide by the rules of the National Seashore. And I feel very strongly about that.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, the height difference from what's already there on the ridge height looking up to what they're proposing, I don't see any harm to anybody in the neighborhood. And generally, I'm not a fan of these things, but in this case, I don't see any disadvantage to anybody. And when you go up Ocean View Drive, which I go up a lot, the height of that house is not going to affect the view of the ocean. If it did, I'd be a strong no in a heartbeat. But I just don't see the harm in this particular what they're doing, and they're staying within the same footprint. So,
right. Mr. Rice, I believe you'd like to weigh in on this. You have to be unmuted though, or you can't mute. He's muted. Drew, you are muted. You can't weigh in until you unmute. Okay.
Yeah, I unmuted now?
Yes.
Okay, yes, hi. So I'm on 425 Nelly Road. We've been here since 1956. That particular house across the street, you had mentioned before about a previous property, previous discussion there about the house that was currently there was sort of not the nicest looking home. Well, our family's been looking at this bunker since 1958. So we're rather excited about the fact that it will be an improvement to the street. And the other thing is, I think if you were to look at the end of Nelly Road in 2018, I believe it was approved a 4,800 square foot house. So when we're talking about 1,400 square feet, you're not changing Nelly Road that much. And if you were also to go 50 yards over onto Wilson, you will notice the Batchelder house that was built that is about 1,940 square feet. And you also notice the Lavoie house across the street, which is about 1,700 square feet. Now, those houses were just built a couple of years ago. Lavoie's house was doubled a couple of years ago in terms of the size, and Batchelder's was built from ground up. So, you know, the whole objective here, I don't think, is to create a McMansion. You know, 1,400 square feet isn't. And I think that also, when you do look at the topography of the way the house sits, and I've had several conversations with my new neighbors because the McClaskeys sold 2 years ago. You know, the family owned the same year that my grandparents built the house. So I've known them forever. And so I was very interested in having a conversation with the Zaffinellis. They were very open about it. They shared the architectural plans, and just my rough calculations. I'm not a builder, I'm not an architect, but it only looks like between 3.5 and 4 foot increase in height. And the reason for that is basically because the fact that the land was sort of bermed up to create sort of a bunker around what is the basement. The basement's now going to become the first floor. And so it's basically going up from a reduced topography of the current land. So it's not as if it's being built on top of a castle or something like that, or a mound. If anything, it's being built back down into the land. And I think that's going to make a more improved, a much nicer look on our street. And, you know, I'm kind of the custodian of the street. I trim it. I work with, you know, the new highway individual, Director Jay. And I feel I have a strong vested interest in how our street looks. And I've had a conversation with the house next door to me. I sold a year and a half ago. I had a conversation with Nenny, who's over there. She was very, I probably shouldn't speak for her, but she was very much in favor of having some improvement to our street with this home. And, you know, there again, the aspect of a 1.5 versus a two story, I do kind of think it's a little bit semantics. I mean, it's probably going to be relatively, if you go up 1.5 stories, does it mean that the second floor is half the height, or does it mean that it's half the distance? So it's not a discussion about height. It's a discussion about, I don't know, appearance. And again, we're only talking about less than 1,500 square feet. This is nowhere near the McMansion that's at the end of Nelly. That's 4,700 square feet. So that's my opinion.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else from anyone?
Yeah, I'll just pop in and say, you know, I understand Jan and Al's concerns. I mean, this whole area was not designed, if you will, for the kinds of houses that are now starting to be built there. And I agree that this house will be a major improvement. And but I mean, I think the cat's out of the bag, and that's the problem. that there are a number of houses in this subdivision, if you will, that no longer conform.
Mm.
And I mean, I think if we keep an eye on it and try not to go, to let it get too big, I think we're all right.
I agree.
Anyone else? Thank you, Andy. I think that makes sense. Mhm. Okay.
Move to findings.
Yep, we moved to findings. So you're making the motion?
Making the motion.
Okay, Mick is making the motion.
Second.
Trevor is seconding the motion. Okay. This is an application under Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.1.5 and Massachusetts General Law C40A S6 and Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.24 and 8.4.2 to demolish an existing dwelling and build a new dwelling on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The lot is in the National Seashore Park District. The lot is pre-existing and non-conforming with regard to the following. Minimum lot area, 4,792 square feet existing, where 3 acres is required. Frontage, 64 feet, exiting where 200 feet is required. Minimum front setback, 16 feet existing, where 50 feet is required. Minimum side setback, east, 19 feet, where 35 feet is required. Minimum side setback west, 20 feet, where 35 feet is required. Minimum rear setback, 16 feet, where 35 feet is required. And maximum National Seashore Park gross floor area, 672 square feet, 14.02%, where 230.6 square feet, 5% is allowed. The new structure will be constructed in the footprint of the existing building. There will be no change or increase in use. The new construction will not alter any of the current setbacks. The use conforms with the objectives of the National Seashore Park as stated in Wellfleet zoning bylaw 3.2. There was one abutter in appearance in support of the application. There was a letter from the National Seashore Park in opposition to the project. The board has found that pursuant to Wellfleet zoning bylaw 8.4.2.3, scenic views from public ways and developed properties have been considerately treated. Reasonable efforts have been made to minimize visibility of parking and service areas from public streets. Traditional public access to and along the shoreline has been maintained. The board has found pursuant to Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.24.3 National Seashore Park zoning district criteria, there will be no change in grade or removal of native vegetation except as necessary to construction. There will be no construction on steep slopes, floodplains, hilltop dune, coastal bank, or scenic views. The applicants are not aware of any unusual or rare natural and or historical features that will be disturbed. The applicants will build on the existing footprint, so storm runoff will not be affected. The applicants do not expect the project to create noise or light pollution. Here's the long one. The 50% use guideline for the National Seashore Park states that the proposed development shall not exceed the 50% formula unless the development shall not have an adverse impact on scenic views and on the scale, mass, and character of the neighborhood zoning district. According to records, the dwelling contains 672 square feet of living space as of September 1st, 1959. Under the 50% expansion guideline, this may be expanded to 1,008 square feet with an additional 504 square feet allowed for the use as an accessory structure. The proposed structure contains a total of 1,478 square feet, which is 470 square feet more than the guideline stipulates. The applicants submit that they should be allowed to exceed the guideline because their proposal will not have a significant adverse effect on the scenic views or on the prevailing scale, mass, or character of the neighborhood. The applicants further propose that under the guideline, they would be allowed 504 square feet for an accessory building. They asked to be allowed to use that area as part of the dwelling instead. And 9, the proposal will not be more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure, and the applicant has demonstrated that the benefits of the proposal will outweigh any adverse effects on the town and the vicinity after considering the district objectives for the National Seashore Park District as provided for in the Wellfleet zoning bylaws regarding alteration of non-conforming structures and lots and for granting of a National Seashore Park special permit. Any changes? Question?
Just one little question. When you
Yep.
say that the seashore objected to the project, can you put down they partially objected because they didn't have a problem with it? They
I was
just
gonna
wanted
say that
it
too.
lowered?
Okay, yeah, the
So it's just
seashore,
a partial objection instead of an outright
okay,
objection.
yes, I
Or just,
certainly
or
can.
just say that they had perhaps say that they had
Yeah,
concerns with them,
The
Thank you,
seashore expressed
expressed concerns with them.
concerns about the size of the project.
I wouldn't say they outright objected.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
It can't be
You're
debated
right.
all the time.
that's fair, because they mainly just said make it a 1.5 story house. So the seashore, the National Seashore Park expressed concerns about the size of the project.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Anything else?
I also didn't know if we should throw in a finding that they're just stating that there will be a volumetric increase within all 4 setbacks.
Yes. Yeah, there. Metric increase in all 4 setbacks. I'll put that right after there will be no change or increase in use. I will say there will be a volumetric increase on all 4 setbacks.
Mhm.
Okay.
And should we try to make some kind of finding that there's no residential abutter directly to the east? Just in the sense that there isn't a structure there that would, I mean, if there was theoretically a house directly to the east, that would be the person, the owner who would be most directly affected by a height increase, but there isn't anyone there. Can we make some kind of finding that there's no
Sure.
residential, I'm not exactly sure how to word it, but just that there's no residential owner directly abutting to the east that would be affected by it.
There are no residents to the east affected by the proposed building, something like that.
Would that work?
This is Tim Brady, and I think
Yes.
if you're gonna mention the abutters, you might note that the park is actually the only abutter. They're the abutter on 3 sides,
Right.
on both
Right.
sides and in the rear. So there's,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Well, I think maybe scenic views from public ways and developed properties have been considerately treated. There are no developed properties to the east of this.
or you might just say there are no direct residential properties.
Yeah, just say that,
Okay,
because I think that supports that finding that
Yeah.
that you just said.
yeah, I'll put that in there, direct residential butters, properties rather. I'll put that in with the part about the scenic views, because it supports that part. Okay. So it would read scenic views from public ways and developed properties have been considerately treated. There are no direct residential properties to the east of the property or on
On any sides.
any side of the property.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'll move the findings.
Okay. I
I'll
need-
second.
All right. All in favor? Will,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Jan,
I,
and Sharon. Aye. Okay, and then I need,
I'll move to
Motion.
grant a special permit based on the findings.
okay, Trevor moved to grant the
will
special permit
second that.
and Mick seconded. All in favor? Jan?
Madam Chair, I'm going to vote aye because there are no abutter objections and because of what Mick said, so I'll vote aye.
Okay. Aye. Will?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
And Sharon? Aye. Say, Ben,
Very nice.
you're batting
I
a
think that's-
1,000 tonight.
One question, Madam Chair. I'm assuming that those votes were to grant both the special permits, both the 6.1.5 and the
Yes.
seashore 6.2.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Mhm.
And Jan, thank you. You know, I love to watch your board work. Thank you all. So-
Thank you all very much.
And one question for you. I don't think I have to acknowledge in the findings this question about the boundary lines.
No, leave that out of it.
I think that's your
Kind of
problem
worries.
to resolve, not mine,
Yeah,
right?
that's open.
It is.
Okay, good. All right. I don't. that's-
Thank you all.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. See,
Good night,
Ben, don't say
everybody.
we're always mean to you. We're not.
No, and I love the format. I feel like I'm watching Hollywood Squares. So
It does feel like that.
we should put Paul Lind in there somewhere so we can kind of listen to what he has to say. But I do enjoy coming out and seeing you all again. So,
I think these were good applications. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, thank you.
Well
This-
done.
yeah, these were
Good
very
night,
thorough.
everybody.
Okay,
Night.
all right. Bye-bye. And I think the only thing is, goodbye, Mr. and Mrs. Zaffinelli.
Good luck with your new house.
Good luck with your house. Yes,
Goodbye.
bye-bye. 2, 3, 4. All right, we're down to us. And I think, Chris, we have minutes. Chris, we have
Yep.
the minutes.
November 4th, I think our meeting was.
No,
No.
not
November
December.
12th.
We haven't got to
It's
December
October.
yet, please.
No, I said November 4, I think. I
No,
don't-
October,
no,
those are
'cause-
October 12 minutes that you sent
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
we didn't
that's
have a
right, because
November
we had a
4th
holiday.
meeting. We didn't have the October late one. So it's just,
That's
yes,
true.
the October. So
Yes.
I need a motion
Yes.
to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
I shall move.
Okay, and I need a second. That was Will, and I need a second.
Second.
Jan was a second. All in favor, Al?
Aye.
Retha? Jan?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Will?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
And Trevor?
Bye.
And Sharon? Aye. It does feel like Hollywood Squares. Um,
I'm Buddy Hackett.
I don't know.
Yes,
who
okay.
I am.
I did see one little cartoon where there's a little girl and she had all of her little toys in boxes. She could have a Zoom meeting with them. The new childhood.
Zoom.
So, okay, and then I think we can have a motion to adjourn. We will
So moved.
be all together. So Nick moves and
Second.
Will seconds. All in favor, Al?
Aye.
Retha?
That's an
Jan?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Will?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
And Sharon, aye. Thank you all. But
Bye.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
everybody.
all.
Thank you. Get
Aye.
well, Sharon.
yes,
Bye-bye.
yes, slowly but surely I will get
Good
well.
job tonight, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Yeah, Sharon, great job on your findings tonight.
Thank you. Yes,
You
well,
put a
one of
lot
them
of
was
work into
Will's
that.
and the other was, I wrote one and Will wrote the other. I will make the changes to these. There were little notes and things and
Yeah.
ship them over to you before I go downstairs tonight. So you'll have them.
All righty, I'm gonna work from home tomorrow.
Good
So
idea.
get the meeting minutes done and then and possibly even the decisions. This week is just gonna be screwy and next week with the holidays.
With the holiday is nuts. Yeah,
I'm gonna work
yeah.
Wednesday, but I've got my booster shot, so
So good.
that's screw
Yeah.
up my day.
Get your booster shot.
No. You take care, dear.
I will. I will.
Thank
You
you.
be safe and we'll talk. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Bye-bye.